symbol. Thanks, Jenny. Good
Mhm.
evening, everybody. Today is Thursday, October 16th, 2025 at 7 p.m. This is a meeting of the Bolton Select Board. Um, First on our agenda, I want to call the meeting to order and um, just make a few remarks about the recent tragic loss of our beloved police chief, Luke Hamburger. I think, as everybody is aware, Chief Hamburger died very unexpectedly just over a week ago, and it's a massive loss to the community, to the police department, especially, and to everybody who works with the town of Bolton, and above all, to his lovely family, his wife Ruth, and his son Ethan. Um, I'd like to take a moment of silence in just a second, but also I just wanted to recognize that at a moment when our police department suffered the tragic loss of their leader, they also had to keep everything else going at the same time and spring into action to figure out how to handle what comes next. And so I want to especially commend the men and women of our police department for their truly outstanding service to the town of Bolton always, but especially over the last 2 weeks. I'd like to give a special thank you to Lieutenant Kim Barry, who has been acting as interim police chief since the passing of Chief Hamburger, and also to our fire chief, Jeff Legendre, for all of his help and support, and our town administrator for helping to deal with and lead us through all of the myriad things that a town is faced with when you have this sort of a loss. Um, so I'm sure there are so many more people that we will be acknowledging over the coming weeks because so many have contributed. And also, I think the select board will be thinking more long term about how to honor the memory of Chief Hamburger, and to make sure that the legacy that he had built in his 20 years of service to our police department is carried forward. So with that, if we could just please take a moment to remember our chief. Okay, thank you. And on a more uplifting note, I also do want to acknowledge and welcome a new member to our select board, Bill Nichols. Welcome, Bill. Congratulations on your election. Um,
Thank you.
and thank you for stepping up to serve the town in this way.
Thank you. I look forward to working with everyone.
Also, just as a point of order, our third select board member, Kate Bayuk, is in attendance this evening, but because she's traveling, because she's not able to be on camera at the moment, but she's listening in and can talk when needed. If you don't see her, that's why, but she is participating virtually. Okay, thank you with all those preliminaries. And now uh, we will be holding a public hearing on the petition of National Grid and Verizon to install 11 poles. So we've got this laid out in our agenda. I think the first thing we need to do is to have a motion to officially open the public hearing. So Bill, I'll leave that to you.
Motion to open the public hearing on Verizon placement of poles.
And I'll second that. Roll call, Bill,
Aye.
Kate,
Yes.
and I'm also a yes. Um, Okay, so we have this hearing. We've received maps, and the abutters have been notified of a petition of National Grid and Verizon to install 11 jointly owned poles at various points along the center line of the intersection of Meadow Road and Main Street. And I believe that we have representatives from National Grid and/or Verizon, as well as our tree warden, Mr. Mark Case. So would somebody from National Grid be able to just explain the purpose of this project, and also we may have a couple of questions just to clarify whether these are all new poles without any removal of existing poles, or so if somebody could just tee that up for us, that would be great.
Yeah, hello. Good evening. This is Himmet National Grid. Um, we did a feeder study on that side of the town, and we've noticed a lot of voltage drops. So we're bringing in this. It's pretty much going to be the same exact feeder. We're just bringing in new wires from that point forward. And we also noticed that the spans between the poles are way longer than what our standards called for. So usually we do a pole every 150 feet, and in that particular area, there is a pole every 200, 220, or even plus pole. And once we bring in the new wire, it's going to be bundled up in something called spacer cable, and that's pretty heavy for that big of a span. So what we do is we split the difference by installing these mid-span poles between the two poles to pretty much split the difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, so I make sure I understand what we saw in our packet. So we had a bunch of maps, and just for example, we might see a pole 79 and a pole 80, which are existing poles. You're going to add a pole 79-50 in the middle and not remove any existing poles, but just add those mid-span poles.
That is correct. And these existing poles will be replaced up to standards.
Sorry, when you say so P79 and P80 will be replaced also?
So most of the existing poles in that area will be replaced to be brought up to standards as far as the width of the pole and the height of the pole. So they will all be the same size. And we install the poles, and Verizon will be removing the old ones.
Okay. Mr. Case, do you want to make any comments or observations based on what you've seen so far?
So, just like he mentioned, these are majority of them are mid-span poles to help carry the load of the new conductors. We had some small clerical errors in the advertisement and also on the public hearing notice. And some of the pole locations are still not staked as of 6:30 this evening. Like they had mentioned, they are mid-span poles, so it's not like it's an existing pole line, so it's not like they're adding across the street and that kind of thing. But it's still really good to know where within a few feet the poles are going to be. And for an example, pole 85-50 is not in exactly the pole line. It's across from Slater's exit, and it's in one of the town drainage swales, and it's going to be anchored. And I asked for the anchor locations to be staked to see if it was going to interfere with maintaining that drainage swale. Stuff like that. That's the only pole that's not dead center in the midst of a existing pole line. That's just off to the left a little bit from the existing, pole line.
Okay. So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to ask Mr. Case, so ideally, we'd have all of the 11 poles fully staked out for you to be able to review prior to full approval of this request.
Yeah, that's how it's worked in the past.
Yeah.
This area, except for which two poles are going right in front of Slater's, other areas are slightly wooded and not nearly as occupied as like we just dealt with on East End Road, where we have problems with right in people's front lawns. And they are, like I said, 10 of the 11 poles are in the existing pole line exactly. So it's just shortening the spans. But I just wanted the board to know, be aware of the fact that just a couple little hiccups, how if you go over their maps, you'll see that there is no map for 88.50, and it's all just sort of duplicates anyways. But it says 88.50 on the bottom of the page, and then on the map itself, it still shows 87.50 as the drawing. But we all get the idea what's supposed to happen, what's going to happen. It's just I wanted the board to be aware of that. There's a couple little hiccups.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't even notice the difference between the
And then
at the bottom.
and then also on the public hearing notice, it lists 80.50. That should have been 91.50.
Okay. Bill or Kate, do you have any questions?
No.
I have a question, and I'm sorry, I didn't catch your last name. Is it Himat?
Yes, that's correct.
You might not be able to answer this, but I think in the past we've had concerns expressed about the timeliness of the removal of old poles. And I think you said Verizon would be removing old poles, National Grid would be replacing some or most of the existing poles to bring them up to standard. Do you have any sense of like how quickly Verizon would be able to get rid of the old poles?
I have no idea, to be honest. I can't speak for Verizon.
Okay. I'm seeing a question from Mr. Levin.
So if you look at your minutes from a previous meeting, the Verizon person said it could take as much as a year. So that was sort of a non-answer.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be good if we could get a project specific ballpark.
So as a follow-on to that, I'm assuming that this pole work and the transmission lines that go with it is also part of what's being done on East End Road. Is that correct?
I think, yeah, that would have to be a question for Mr. Himat.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Could you repeat that again, please?
So there's work being done on Stowe Road and Harvard, pole work, and East End Road and Bolton, with a new transmission line coming down. Is the reason you're doing this pole work consistent with that?
I'm actually unaware of that work, so I'm not sure.
So
I believe, I'm sorry, I believe it's still the same. I believe it's still the same circuit.
yes,
So I think
I
that-
do too. But
Yeah,
that's
I think they're doing improvements to the whole circuit.
yeah, that's
for a
the
lot.
second time I've asked that question of National Grid and gotten the I don't know. So my follow-on question is there somebody I can talk to at National Grid who actually knows what's going on? And the reason for my question is National Grid has done a lot of pole work on Stowe Road and East End Road, but the pole that abuts my property in Harvard is a little strange, and the pole to replace that is sitting outside the stone wall of my Bolton property. And I was wondering when something was going to happen with that. And clearly I need to be able to talk to somebody at National Grid who actually knows what's going on.
I can definitely put you in touch with the project manager.
Excellent.
Who'll be able to answer these questions. Absolutely.
Yeah, and you know, basically, I guess the easiest way to contact me is if you tell Marie, because she can contact me easily.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. McGilvery. I think you got on mute.
There you go. So I'm with my wife Mary. We live at 295 Main Street, and I think we're probably one of the most affected residences by this. So I two questions. One is, were you going to be adding additional poles? I'd like a pretty good distance between where my driveway comes out onto Main Street and a pole. In other words, I don't want a pole 5, 10, or 15 feet from the corner of my driveway just because of line of sight, whereas I'm pulling out. So that's one question I'd have. I'd like to know the distance the nearest poles would be on either side of my driveway. Can anybody give me any information on that?
So I'll jump in here and just say I think what we're going to have to do in any event is continue this hearing to a future date, because one of the things we need is to have the poll locations clearly staked out so that Mr. Case can review everything and that we can have, like, at that point, Mr. McGilvery, you should be able to know exactly where they're thinking of putting it and then lodge, whatever objection or raise it with, you could send it to the town hall in advance once that's clear.
Okay.
It looked like it was going to be relatively close to your mailbox. Within
Okay.
10 feet.
Okay. That's not great.
Right. I just wanted to yes.
Okay. And the second question is my power line to my house comes from obviously those poles. When this project goes through, you disconnect and reconnect my power line? Is that what happens?
Go ahead, Mr. Himat.
No, you shouldn't notice any outages while this is happening.
Okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Case, do you happen to know which poll number it is that's closest to the McGilvery's property?
I believe I can't completely confirm that, but I think it's like the 88 or 89.
Okay. Because I guess I'll just say, Mr. Himat, I think you heard the concern expressed here. So as things get staked, maybe consider whether that a pole that seems like it might be close to a mailbox presently could be adjusted so that it gives better line of sight and more of a distance from the mailbox. I just don't know exactly which pole it is.
Got it. And I'm sorry, I missed. I think I missed it when he said his house number. What was the house number again?
295.
295. Got it.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other comments or questions from the public or from our town administrator? Okay, so I think well, before I have a motion to close the hearing, I just want to be clear. What's going to happen next is if somebody makes a motion to close the hearing, we'll close the hearing and we will adjourn or continue it to our next select board meeting date. So now's your time if you have any questions to ask. Otherwise, we'll be taking this up at our next meeting.
I only have one more question.
Yeah, good.
On marking these poles, do you have any time frame of when these would get marked?
That's a question for Mr. Himat.
Depending on the next hearing, because I came in and I staked this pole already, and I staked all of them. So I'm very surprised that some of these stakes are gone. But we also did have a storm this past weekend, so I'll do it as close as possible to the hearing, so that way they still there when Mr. Casey go and does his own inspection.
There was never a stake on 79.50 that's behind the guardrail. That wouldn't have been dislodged or anything. That was just never staked.
I can send you pictures. I have pictures of me staking the whole.
Just restake it and we'll revisit it.
Jenny? Oh, you got to unmute.
I just had a comment about the maps themselves that were a little bit challenging for the assessor's office to do an abutters list because of the limited information on the maps. I don't know if it would be possible to, in the future, to reduce the size so that parcel lines can be visible so that there's some context for people viewing these maps to understand what they're looking at. The example of Mr. Case not being able to identify which pole is in front of Mr. McGilvery's house is because there's really not much information to use on the maps.
Duly noted. We'll start doing that moving forward.
Thank you.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to uh, continue this hearing to, Jenny, can you give me the date of our next select board?
Yes, it is November 6th.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion to continue this hearing until 7 PM on November 6th.
Motion to continue this hearing to November 6th.
Okay, and I'll second that. Roll call, Bill,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and I'm also a yes. All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Mr. Himmat.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, next up, we have two appointments to consider. One is the appointment of Scott Gear to serve on the Conservation Commission to the 3-year term expiring on June 30th, 2026. And I apologize if I'm getting anybody's last names incorrect. The other one is for Robert Kolowich to serve on the Economic Development Committee to the 3-year term expiring June 30th, 2026. So I see we have both of you gentlemen, so let's just go in order. Mr. Gear, could you just introduce yourself briefly and say a little bit about your interest in serving on the commission?
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you for considering me. As mentioned, my name's Scott Gear. I live on 443 Still River Road, 110. I'm the last house on the right before you hit Harvard. My family and I moved here, I guess, almost 2.5, 3 years ago at this point. Retired out of the military from DC and moved back I'm a new used Massachusetts resident. And so this came up as I became aware of the vacancy and it became an opportunity for me to participate a little bit within the community. So that's why I submitted my name. Do you want experience, relevant type stuff, or
maybe could you just say a little bit about whether you've had an opportunity to meet with current members of the Conservation Commission and how those conversations have gone?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I initially met with the Conservation Committee because we're in the process of requesting some work being done at our home. And that's when actually was during that hearing when we stayed to the end that we became aware that there was the vacancy on it. So I've met with the committee both for the purposes of seeking some approval for some work, and then additionally had the opportunity on the last meeting to meet with them and have a similar conversation about my desire to join the Conservation Committee.
Great.
So I think they went well. They unanimously accepted me in their meeting and put forth my recommendation. So
Terrific. Any questions, Bill or Kate?
Scott, do you have an opportunity to use some of the conservation lands in town?
Actually, yeah, we actually have one right behind our house. That's it's got the connection on Vaughn, and then loops down behind our property and connects down up in Harvard. So we've used that several times, and then pretty active in the events that we have in the Bolton Town Center. And so there's also that trail taking my youngest, who's not so young anymore. We've meandered back through that area. And then the wife and I recently picked up kayaks. And so we're looking forward to accessing some of the waterways here in the area as well. So yeah, we're pretty excited about that. I grew up on a farm in Gardner. And then we have kind of a borderline hobby farm. My wife loves dirt farming. I grew up doing it. I hate it. But we have the chickens and we have far more dogs than I care to have, and stuff like that. So no, that was a big draw for this property, was the fact that it was right. We had the Venerable Pond with the spring peepers, which was very similar to where I grew up in Gardner. We had that area when I was in Gardner. And then the turtles, and we've had some experience on that. And then my office actually outlooks our backyard and the conservation area behind our house. And so we have a couple does that frequent our area, and they run anywhere from 2 to 6 depending on the time of the year. So so I say I get to use it every day, Bill, because
Good. That's
I
great.
live right on it. So
That's great. Thank you.
Kate, anything from you?
No, not at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Scott, for stepping up and volunteering. I think that's terrific. And at this point, if there's a motion to approve Mr. Gear to serve on the Conservation Commission, that'd be great.
Motion to approve Scott Gear to serve on the Conservation Commission.
And I'll second that. And this is for the 3-year term ending on 6/30/26. Roll call. Kate,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I'm yes also. Great, thank you.
thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Have a good evening. And next on to Mr. Kolowich, if that's you. You introduce yourself and you can tell us how to say your last
Yeah,
name.
you got it. You got it. So, hi, everybody. My name's Rob Kolowich. I've lived in Bolton for 5 years. So, my wife and I live on 99 Norse Road. We have 2 daughters, 2 very young daughters here. And we absolutely love the town. We plan on being here for a long time. So, I think from my perspective, I've been in the business world for 12 plus years. I've worked at companies that range from kind of small family owned business, local business, a couple $1 million in revenue, all the way up to CVS Health down in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, which is a $250, $300 billion company. So I've seen businesses ranging like kind of the full gamut of size and scope. I think I have developed some really strong problem solving, big picture strategic thinking skills over the years. And I'm really looking to find a way to get involved in the town, kind of bring my skill set so that I can give back to the town that myself, my wife, and my family have really come to love. So that's why I'm interested in the role. I spent some time talking with Pam Harding about the opportunity. So we had a phone call. She kind of walked me through, what the group typically discusses and the events that the group puts together. So, I'm very excited about the opportunity to serve my community and bring my skills and experiences to help us continue to improve.
Great. Bill or Kate, any questions?
No questions for me. Thank you for your effort to join the committee.
No questions from me. Thank you.
Okay. No, this sounds great. Again, love seeing people step up to serve the town, and we appreciate it. So at this point, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion for Robert Kolowich to serve as a 3-year term in the Economic Development Committee.
Yeah, and just to be clear, it's the 3-year term that expires, that would be expiring June 30th, 2026. So just to be clear. Okay, and I'll second that. Roll call. Kate?
Yes.
I'm also, Bill?
Yes.
And I'm also a yes. Thank you, and congratulations. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, have a good rest of the night. Okay, now we're on to our finance department. First of all, let me say thank you to the members of our finance department for taking time out of their evenings to join us this evening. I think we're going to first start with a departmental update from our town accountant, and then I think you'll also take us right on into the very exciting topic of an OPEB overview. If you could just unmute yourself. Hi, Nanachka.
Hi. Do you want to have Parker go first so he doesn't have to sit through our...
Oh, sure. You know what? Thank you for pointing
I'm
that
fine.
out.
Your stuff is very exciting, I'm sure. Whatever works for you guys.
It's really not.
Now, how about actually, yeah, Nanachka, would you introduce Parker and we can turn it over to him?
Yeah, sure. This is Parker Elmore. He's I don't know, principal at Odyssey Advisors.
good enough.
Yep. Yep. They do our OPEB valuation or actuarial report, and he's fantastic, super responsive, and he's going to tell you everything you need to know about OPEB.
There
More
you
than
go.
you wanted to know.
That's almost certainly true. I'll tell you what, I'll share a screen here so you guys can see what we're going to talk about. And it will not be a quiz at the end, I promise. So the wonderful world of OPEB, other post-employment benefits. So I'll give you the quick 30-second overview about our firm. We've been around since 98. I've been doing this longer, from going back to the late 80s, just tells you how old I am. We're in 37 states. We work with 500 plus municipalities. We're in South America, Europe, Australia. I spend a lot of time on planes. All right, enough of that. So what is OPEB and why do we have to do these silly reports every couple of years? So it's other post-employment benefits, which is basically GASB 45, for those of you who remember this stuff, back in 2004, that came out and said, hey, pay-as-you-go accounting, that's adorable, but we want to have accrual accounting, much like the business world operates under. We did that in the private sector. We did that in 1989. So you guys came out in the governmental sector in 2004. And then in GASB 75 came around in 2016. You guys adopted in 2018. What this really means, we're doing accrual accounting. So we're saying, what's the value of benefits that have been earned to date? Now, OPEB benefits are really, it's medical, dental, life, vision, things like that. Here's the reality. 99% of the liability is medical. So that's really what we'll focus on. And so basically, I work for you guys for a period of time. I retire. I will get some form of medical benefits for the rest of my life, probably to cover a spouse and or family as well. And that's a very significant number. At age 65 is a general rule. It's about $125,000 a person is what that liability is. So if it's me and a spouse, that's $250,000 of liability. If I retire earlier, it's a much larger number. It could be, if the example I always give is like that, 45-year-old police chief who retires with a 35-year-old spouse and a couple of kids. That's $1 million liability. So it's a pretty big number. So it's, what's the value of benefits earned to date? What's the value of benefits being earned during the year, which we call the service cost? And what's the value of benefits being paid out each year? And the idea behind this is really to standardize the method so I can look at the town of Bolton, the town of Harvard, town of Groton, pick whatever town you want. We can compare them across things because we're all using the same methodology to value them. And again, if people have questions, feel free to jump in anytime. Don't feel like you have to wait to the end. So basically, this is what we call our in-between year, our roll forward year, our interim year. So the main thing we're doing this year is really changing what's called the discount rate, which is the interest rate we use to value the liabilities. And we also update the assets to reflect what happened over the year. So your guys' liability went from 4.9 million to 5.3 million over the year. Well, 174,000 of that is due to the change in the discount rate. And you're going to go, why did my discount rate go down? We'll talk about that in a second. Fiduciary net position, which is what normal people call assets, that went from 2.3 million to about 2.6 million. Part of that's contributions, part of that's earnings. You guys and everybody else have been having a glorious time in the market. Hopefully that continues. But as you all know, markets go up, markets go down. Hopefully we stay on an upward trend, but time will tell. And the net OPEB liability, or what most people call unfunded liability, went from 2.5 million to 2.7 million. So again, your funded ratio is about 49%. That puts you basically in the 90th percentile of towns across the state. So in other words, you're doing better than 90% of your peers. So only in the OPEB context, you go 49%, we're killing it. Well, I understand it doesn't seem great, but compared to your peers, it is very, very good. And the discount rate we spoke about came down slightly from 6.8 to 6.51. So the discount rate, if you've seen me speak at other events, I do a lot of these, events around the state and across the country. The discount rate under GASB is based on really 5 key factors. It's really how much money have you already saved? In your case, about 2.6 million. How much money are you paying out every year? How much money are you going to put in every year? What do 20-year municipal bonds go for in terms of yield? And how are you going to invest the money once you put it in? If you invest more aggressively, you're going to get a higher discount rate. If you invest less aggressively, you'll get a lower discount rate. And in your guys' case, that's really the main thing that's driving your guys' numbers is the discount rate as your expected rate of return. So in your guys' case, you're not conservatively invested, but your equity portfolio is not on the riskier side of things. You guys are in more, I guess what I would call blue chip type equity investments. So that's why you're at 651. Some other people who have more alternative investments in private equity will have a higher discount rate. There's not anything good or bad about that. In the corporate world, we value everything based on corporate bonds, regardless of how you invest. Which honestly, were left to me, that's the way we do OPEB as well, and the municipal side. But GASB didn't ask actuaries how to do it. They, this is the way they decided it, so this is the way we're going to do it. So this is more like an income statement methodology. Now, again, in the municipal sector, income statement, who cares? We're not doing earnings per share. We're not giving our earnings per share went up by 3 cents. We're not giving giant bonuses. That's not the way it works. However, the service cost is probably what I would draw your attention to. That's the value of benefits being earned during the year by active employees. So the simplest way I think of it is going, Mary or Joe works for you. They've been here for the year. They're earning, think of medical benefits as deferred compensation. I make $50,000 a year, and I'm going to earn an extra couple $1,000s this year in terms of deferred comp. They'll be payable in retirement in the form of medical benefits. The financial statement expense, again, it's interesting. It goes through your income statement, but nothing really matters in the municipal context. The employer share of cost, here's the key thing. This is retirees only. So you say, hey, our healthcare cost is a lot higher than $207,000. I'm only looking at retirees. And the trust contributions this year, you guys cut your trust contribution for the OPEB from $298 the prior year down to $27,000. That's fine. Again, you guys had a good year, so it didn't really hurt you too bad. And again, the discount rate we already spoke about. So we talk about, again, this is the in-between year, the roll forward year, so we don't have demographic experience because we did all that last year. So we don't have that, but we do have the discount rate I spoke about. By lowering that discount rate, our liabilities go up by $174,000. Now, here's the thing. Assumptions are interesting, and we'll talk about that in the next slide. The ultimate value or the cost of your plan is the benefits you pay out over time. I can assume everybody lives to be 147, your liabilities go sky high. I can assume everybody dies at 65, your liabilities drop by a ton. None of that matters. People are going to live as long as they're going to live, regardless of what I think. People are going to elect benefits based on regardless of what I think. People will terminate employment or retire regardless of what I think. So assumptions really change how we reflect when benefits are reflected on your balance sheet. It doesn't change the ultimate cost of the plan. It just reflects when such liabilities get reflected on the balance sheet. So we'll talk about this, what these actuaries do and their magic formulas we use. So we talked about the discount rate already, came down to 651. That is termination rate. So I hired Jimmy or Mary today at age 25. What's the probability they're here next year, the year after, the year after? Okay, they make it all the way to retirement age. What's the probability they retire at 55, 56, 57, 58? Okay, they elect to retire. What's the probability they elect to take coverage? What's the probability they elect to cover a spouse? And then because of what we do for a living, we have a very complicated healthcare cost inflation assumption, which deals with GDP, percentage of GDP, long-term healthcare, long-term GDP growth, certain restriction points, and when we think that will level out. Long story short, if you assume about 4.5% a year over the next 50 years, you'd be pretty close to where we end up. So we have a complicated model, but ultimately, if you said 4.5% a year, you wouldn't be very far off. In terms of what do these plans cost? Like I said, you have medical and you have a $5,000 group term life. The group term life, I don't mean to diminish it, but that's not where the money is. Your active healthcare plans are about $1,000 a month. You're slightly above the average I see, maybe 8 to 10% above the average of what I see. And your Medicare supplement plan is pretty much right on the number that I see. The reality is for OPEB purposes, and I don't mean to diminish the active plan, but for OPEB purposes, the money is all in the Medicare supplement plan. So if you're really trying to manage your OPEB liability, the Medicare supplement plan makes up about 75% of the liability. So that's really where you want to focus, because I have clients come to me all the time and say, hey, our healthcare cost on the active side, we cut it by 5%. I'm there. That's great. It's a wonderful thing. It has very little impact on OPEB, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. It's just that's not really where the money is on the OPEB side. We talked before about, everyone wants to know, how do I stack up against my peers? So you can see cities, towns, schools. Look at the town column. You guys are at 49% change. 47% change would get you in the 90th percentile. So you're comfortably in the 90th percentile. Utilities do better, not surprisingly, because they can build it into a rate base. So if you're a water district, a utility district, sewer district, you can build OPEB into your rates, and therefore they fund a lot more. School districts, not surprisingly, don't fund very much at all because they depend on the towns to decide they want to fund. You have to get all the towns to agree, and difficult to get 2 people to agree, let alone 6 or 7. So most school districts do not fund very well. The other thing is going, we select some peers. These may not be peers you guys think of as peers. We're just trying to think of people either geographically that are nearby or of similar demographics. And you guys can see your guys' discount rate is at 653. Some of your peers are slightly higher, some are slightly lower. The overall average is about 4.9 across the state. So you're definitely better off in that regard. Your service cost, which is benefits being earned per employee that I just spoke about a couple minutes ago, about $3,100 a year, which is significantly lower than the state average. But again, that's because you have a higher discount rate. Higher discount rate equals a lower liability and vice versa. Also drives down the service cost. The funded ratio, as you can see, you guys are well above the state average of 11% and change. You're not doing as well as Princeton, but again, they're a small town. You're certainly better than Groton, Northborough, and Ashland, but they have much bigger liabilities to work with, except for Boxborough. And the benefit payments, your guys' benefit payments per retire are slightly above the average, so you're $7,400 versus $6,400. It's nothing I'd really be terribly concerned about. Like I said, you guys are pretty much right on the number. You're not. Your Medicare plans are not too high, not too low, so I don't see any real thing to be concerned about there. This just shows you what we see all the time. Public safety employees have a higher service cost and a higher liability, which if you think about it makes sense. Without getting too deep in the weeds about how the math is done, public safety employees generally retire earlier, and therefore they have a shorter working career. So you might hire a public safety person at 25 and they might leave at 45 or 50. Therefore, they get the benefits for a longer period of time, and they accrue them over a shorter period of time. So therefore, the service cost benefits being earned during the year are higher because we have to amortize the cost over a shorter period. The all-important, where are we going from here? So everyone wants to see the future. I can assure you we are wrong. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you what the future is going to be, but it's certainly our best estimate as of today. So you guys are at 49% now. We expect you guys to reach 100% funding by about 2033, 2034. So you guys are on a very clean pathway to get there. The numbers I always show people is because you're going to see your liability goes from $5 million to $17 million over 40 years. And people throw up their hands and say, why even try? I guide people to the present value numbers in today's dollars. So you're at 5.3 million today. It'll spike up to about 5.6 million 15 years from now and start coming back down back to 5.3. So your guys' liability is pretty much, basically it's going to stay in the same basic percentage of your budget for the next 40 years. Your pay-as-you-go cost to cash out the door, that will spike up a little bit as some people retire and then start to come back down. But again, the beauty of this thing is you guys are funding. So by the time we get to 2033, 2034, when the costs start to spike up, you're going to be taking money out of the trust to pay those benefits. They're not going to be coming out of the budget each year. So you guys are on a pathway, before numbers start to spike up, that's going to come out of the trust. It's not going to come out of your annual budget. So you guys are on a pathway really to, in about 10 years, OPEB is not going to be a budgetary problem anymore.
So sorry,
yeah.
I just wanted to jump in here because I
Yeah.
think it's important to actually underscore that, and also just make sure I'm understanding it. So,
Yeah.
Right now when you look at our annual budget, and this happens at town meeting too, you can actually see a line item where we have our OPEB appropriation.
Yeah.
But once we're fully funded, the funding source for that OPEB amount, which I guess is I don't know, whatever we want to call it, if it's 251 or 305 or whatever the case may be,
Yep.
we'll just appropriate from the trust fund rather than through the annual budgeting.
Correct. Yeah. So as an example, like in this year, your service cost this year, it's not on this slide, but your service cost this year is $123,000. So people are adding $123,000 of new liability for the year, but you're paying off $207,000 of existing retirees. So under this scenario, you would, if you were fully funded right now, what you would do is you would fund 123 and then withdraw 207 to cover this year's payments. So you would net take 80,000 out of the trust versus right now you're putting in, like in 2026, we're projecting to put in, 277,000. In reality, what would happen is you guys under this scenario would basically, instead of putting 277 in, you would take about $80,000 out. So really under your guys' plan, by about 2033, the OPEB plan effectively is an income source for the town budget rather than a expense for the town budget.
Yep, got it. Great, thanks.
So yeah, you guys are, your You're almost at the top of the mountain. You're not quite there yet, but it is in sight. And that's pretty much what I got. Questions, comments, concerns, OPEB vocabulary quiz, whatever I can do.
Yeah, Parker. So the slight reduction in the discount rate, is
Yep.
that just due to a de-risking of the portfolio?
No, it's so what happens is every year, as part of the process, we have to look at what does the market expect to earn for each class of assets going forward over the long term. And so what happens is when markets do well, the expected future returns actually go down because you've earned more of the future returns, so there's less to be earned in the future.
Gotcha.
So what we use is a study, and it's in our report. You can see it. It's a study that comes out every year. It's about 35 different investment advisors around the country with their projected returns by asset class. So from alternatives to real estate to cash to small cap, large cap, international, you name it. And then we apply that to your portfolio. How are you invested? Then we figure out under your portfolio, what's the expected 20, 30-year rate of return for that portfolio. So if you guys wanted to increase your discount rate, you guys could decide to be more aggressive. Hey, let's bring some alternatives into the portfolio. Maybe bring in some real estate. Maybe bring in some international equities. You could do that. I'm not saying you should by any means, but that's certainly if you wanted to chase discount rate, you could do that. And this is, like I said, why I don't particularly agree with the GASB methodology, because under the GASB methodology, in theory, and I'm not recommending this to be clear, you can say, hey, listen, I'll put the entire portfolio in Bitcoin. Well, under a GASB model, you get the highest discount rate, maybe 9, 10%. And your liabilities go way down, but your numbers become incredibly volatile. And I would argue it's not really the best fiduciary thing to do. But if you're purely looking to just lower your number on the balance sheet, yeah, you can do that. I don't think it makes any logical sense. But if we're purely trying to play financial math, it allows you to do some of those things.
Thank you.
Yep.
Kate, any questions from you?
No question. I really appreciate the presentation. It's really helped me to understand in a lot more detail both the state of our OPEB funding and also the work that's been put in prior years to get us to this point. So it's really good to hear that. It sounds like we're on very solid footing with a very good plan going into the future. So
yeah, no, you guys have done a great job. I mean, it's nice to always deliver good news. It's a lot better than some of the meetings I have to have. So you guys have done a very nice job of getting to this point. And so yeah, I mean, it's nice to see people who are actually taking it seriously. And as you guys are aware, when the rating agencies come in, they look at debt as a big portion of their rating. And you guys are doing a good job to show that you see a debt and you're trying to manage the debt away. So I would assume when you get your ratings done, this is something that projects favorably on your behalf.
Well, we really appreciate your time this evening. It's really helpful, and I know that Ninotchka knows how to find you if we have any other questions along.
Absolutely, yeah. If you guys think of other things, you have questions,
Sorry,
reach out
go ahead,
anytime.
Parker, I don't see in the packet, I don't see those return assumptions. Is there any way I could get that?
Yeah, they're in the actuarial report, so I don't know if Ninotchka wants to
I can
share
send
that.
you the whole report.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's on
thank
page 10 of the actuarial report. It shows, allocation by asset class and real rates of return and all that fun stuff.
Okay, I'd just like to look at that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
All right. Well, thanks again. Good to
Thank
see
you.
you.
I appreciate the time.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you for suggesting that we start there, Ninotchka.
That seems fair.
Does that mean that you're going to stick around till 2033 when we make it over the top of the mountain?
That was what I was thinking as I was watching that. I'm like, I'm not going to be here in 2033. We'll see. Let's get through tonight and see what happens.
Well, on that ominous note.
All right. So you guys got the overview that I filled out. I don't know if you want me to go through it. Do you want to just ask me questions? I don't want to just read to you,
Yeah, no, I don't think we necessarily need you to read anything, but more like what folks have done in the past is just give, I mean, imagine that you're not just talking to us, but you're talking to anybody who might be tuning in to learn a little bit more about your department, sort of your key priorities in the short term, things like that. So just say a little bit at a high level about that.
So my department is me. I am the accounting department. So I'm in charge of anything finance related. I pay all the bills, I post all the receipts, I work on the audit, I do all the Department of Revenue reporting. I do the budget management, expenditure ledgers, let's see what else, all the reconciliations with my awesome compatriot Michelle. What else? Constant monitoring of our finances, making sure things are going the way they're supposed to go, that people are spending the way they're spending, and monitoring their budgets and kind of just keeping people in line.
Yep. I know in the pre-read that you sent, you talked a little bit about some of your goals over the year ahead. Do you want to say a bit about that?
So the goal, as always, is financial health for the town. I think, let's see, where am I? Yeah, so the FY27 budget, I think we'll be in better shape than last year, but my goal is to, one, not even go near an override, not use free cash to fund the budget. And we'll be working as a cohesive unit. We're going to be meeting with Pam and building and everybody to kind of talk about revenues, which I think are important, as well as the expenditure side.
Yeah. Bill or Kate, did you have any specific questions you wanted to hear about from Ninotchka?
No, I don't think I have any questions at this time.
From me, no.
I had one, and it's more of, this isn't, you might not even have the answer to this, and I should give you a heads up. I've mentioned this to Marie in the past, just around, do you ever hear from other accountants, municipal accountants, about sort of software or automated tools that can help improve the functions that you have to do as a town accountant?
I mean, we talk about things at conferences and things like that, but nobody is using any kind of, I'm trying to think what you would use, maybe AI I can't imagine you could use it to input accounts payable. I don't even know how that would function. I mean, you can use it to write letters, things like that. Help with reporting. Not really. I mean, we're all kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah.
If I had heard about it, it'd be at one of the conferences.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one thing I've noticed, it does seem like the municipal space is not usually an early adopter.
No. Yeah. I mean, if there was something, I'd be interested. I mean, it's, what I do is a lot of manual entry.
I'm gonna plant a seed with you the next time you go to accountant school or whatever.
Okay.
In the private sector, there's a tool called Ramp.
Okay.
Ramp. And I've mentioned this to Marie, and I know it's not available in the municipal space yet, but I feel like if there's a demand, but it's amazing. It leverages some AI capabilities to do automated matching of receipts and invoices. It's like really improves efficiency of accounting departments.
So you could scan an invoice in and it would enter it?
Yeah, and also like if there's an expense made out of like a credit card, it will like automatically try to link it. It'll still prompt the employee to go back in and verify that it's right, but it'll like auto assign it so that you're just saying, yes, that's right, instead of having to do it yourself.
Right. I'm not against it. I just have never even heard of it. Yeah.
So
to your point, municipalities and Massachusetts in general, where we like to still stay back, 100 years ago.
Yeah. Marie, I saw you come off mute. Was there something that you had wanted to say? No, you're good.
Oh, no.
Okay, good. Well, I have no other questions, and I know we're already getting a little bit late. So if there's anything else you want to add, we'll just kick it over to Michelle.
I don't think so.
Okay.
No. You done, my awesome compatriot?
Hi, Michelle.
Michelle and I work very well together.
Yes, we do. We do. Hi, I'm Michelle Carlisle. I am the treasurer collector for the town of Bolton. And I do know, like Nanachka said, that you guys did get my information. So I don't know if you have any questions or if you want me to just kind of read through a little bit the high level overview of what I do.
Yeah, I think just some of the highlights the way Nanachka did would be great.
Okay. So as treasurer, I manage the town funds, reconcile with Nanachka on a monthly basis. I enter daily receipts. I manage the payroll, the member benefits, retiree benefits. I manage tax title and land court cases. I manage the budget for the treasurer and for health insurance and life insurance and Worcester Regional Retirement and all of those. I do have an assistant collector treasurer, so I oversee her. As far as the treasurer part of it, she collects all departmental receipts and turns them over to me, and then I enter them. She scans all the checks and then just turns everything over to me, and then I enter everything into, I use Quicken to do all of that and Veda. As collector, I manage and oversee the assistant collector, Andrea. She does most of the collecting for me. She's at the window and collects all real estate and personal property and motor vehicle excise. Again, scans everything, turns it over to me, and then I enter it in. I perform the real estate billings and I sign all MLCs and other miscellaneous high-level tasks that are needed as the collector. Andrea does the bulk of it. Also, as under the collector role, I'm the parking clerk. Under the treasurer role, I sit on the Elderly and Disabled Taxation Fund Committee, and I am also on the Insurance Advisory Committee. I'm also appointed separately as a custodian of the tax possession properties. So I manage all the foreclosures from land court decisions to the sale of the properties, such as I had an auction back last October when it was legally allowed to do so. Now the laws have changed and there's a lot of hoops now that we need to jump through in order to sell properties that land court awards to the town. Land court has stalled. I have 7 properties that have been in land court for 5 years. They have not made a decision on those. Once they do make a decision, if we do get the properties, then now I have to hire a real estate agent. So that is pretty much it. So pick a hat that you want me to put on and I'll answer any questions that you have.
Yeah, sure. So let's put on the treasurer hat first. What would you say, what would you say for the year ahead is a main goal as treasurer that you have?
So the main goal for me is revenue, just like it is for Nanachka. I manage all the town money, and so I'm constantly moving it around. I'm constantly rate shopping. A lot of my banks don't really like me too much because one bank will give me, Eastern Bank just offered me 4.5% for an indefinite amount of time, no matter what the Fed does. So I opened up an account with them pretty quick and moved some money in there, and then called all the other banks and said, hey, what can you give me? So they really don't like it when I call. But anyways, they did really well. They came up, they can't come to 4.5%. Eastern Bank has a whole different thing where they're trying to get commercial properties. And so they were given a lot of money to try and get the, commercial like municipalities and stuff like that. So they were given that. Regular banks they just can't do that. But they did come up. So the interest rates are very important to me. I think that we've done very well with those. And really, it's just trying to keep budgets down and revenues up.
Yep.
Michelle, can I interrupt you for 1 second? I
Of
think
course.
what we were talking about today, I think is going to be a challenge is paying the school. When we talk about managing funds,
Yep.
this has been the first time that we have had such a significant bill to manage. And I think Michelle's doing a good job trying to, not get in a position where we need to borrow to pay them.
Yes, I have no intention of being in that position to pay them. November is going to be tough. I mean, I'm not going to lie. We are going to be cash poor in November until the actuals kick in and the override monies come through. We are going to be very, very tight. It's not going to be easy, pretty, or fun for me or Ninotchka at all in the month of November and December.
I want to make sure Bill and Kate have an opportunity to chime in with any questions they have.
Yeah, I have one question. I see in the packet that you talk about payroll system. Is there a lot of competition for payroll technology in the municipal space, or is it pretty limited?
It's pretty limited in the municipal space. I will say that Harper's, even though I think they do tend to be a little bit more expensive, the service that they provide is absolutely exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
It's exceptional.
That's
I
what you're
was on the
using.
phone with them for an hour today because I needed some help with some reporting that the auditors are asking for. And Harper's is right on it. They're right on it. So I can't say enough great things about Harper's. I don't know, maybe we could save a few pennies going someplace else, but if their customer service isn't as good as Harper's, I wouldn't consider it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Kate, anything from you?
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? Michelle reminded me, I also sit on the finance committee for Neshoba Valley Dispatch Board.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for doing that, and the insurance advisory committee as well. I know that's intense. Well, please keep us posted, especially as the override bills come due. You know, I'm sure you'll get some reactions and all of that, but thank you in advance for.
We're ready. Andrea and I are ready.
I appreciate it. And thank you both for your time tonight.
Of course.
And anytime anybody, if you think of a question you didn't have tonight, we're happy to, give you more insight into what we do.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, you guys are very easy to get a hold of and very accessible.
We try.
Thank you both. Good to see you.
Thank
Good to see you too.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay, Council on Aging is going to do a departmental update as well. I see we have our chair and our director. Hi, Lisa. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I am well. How is everything going tonight?
Great. It's lovely to see you.
Oh, it's great to see you guys too. Thanks for the invite. Appreciate it.
Oh, of course. So I'll just turn it over to you.
Alrighty. So again, like Ninotchka and Michelle, you have my overview. I think, one thing that, a few things that I'd like to highlight about the Council on Aging is, we do service seniors in town 60 years and older, predominantly. And the seniors in town, there are roughly 1,378 seniors, and that equates to 24% of the town's total population, which I think is a very big number, and that's only going to grow in a very big way over the next few years. However, we also serve a whole other component of the community as well, and that consists of young caregivers, adult children, and individuals with disabilities. And some of the services that we provide for them include transportation, resources, referrals, assistance with long-term care placement, guidance with home health services, connection to free and much needed medical equipment, home delivery programs, insurance assistance, and support groups. And that's just some, not all, but just some. So we have the seniors, but we also have that whole other group as well. And so I'm the director, and I work very closely. We're a department of two, Heather Goodsell and I, and she's incredible at what she does. And we also have a really lovely, fantastic van driver, Brian. And so far, since the beginning of this fiscal year, over 400 rides have been coordinated for folks in town. I know that I had had attached in one of my goals, I am going to be pursuing some transportation grants that, you know, would service seniors and people with disabilities in town. And that's going to be more of a pressing issue as we move forward in the MART Connects program. We have this, Council on Aging has the MART van, but the MART Connects service that I'm hoping everyone knows about, many people in town have used it. The funds for that will go away, and that will be discontinued as of November 15th.
Can I ask a quick question on that, Lisa?
Sure.
And first, I do want to acknowledge and thank Jenny Jacobson, who had provided us with some ways of reaching out about that grant and the fact that funding was ending. Are there any updates about whether it's okay? No.
No, I don't. As I get them, I'll be happy to pass the details along.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack you there.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But that's going to be really important. Transportation seems to be a real source of contention. And always has been. You know, we live in a rural community. It's very difficult for people who don't drive or cannot drive to get from point A to point B. So we're doing our best with that. But I really, you know, overall see the Council on Aging as problem solvers. And we, I think, work very hard at meeting people where we're at. So there are people in the community that need us in terms of fuel assistance, you know, SNAP applications, housing, you know, Meals on Wheels and things like that, you know, insurance help. And then there are other folks who don't need that at all, but they suffer from loneliness and isolation, which we know, you know, we hear the statistics all the time about how that's equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That's the health detriment associated with loneliness. It's huge. The other big part of our job is case management. And one case management scenario for an individual can last months to years. And closely, this is weekly or daily check-ins with family and individuals. Stop me if anyone has any questions.
No, this is super. I mean, I really appreciate that you're giving this overview too, because I think for folks in town whose lives may not yet have come into contact with the services of the Council on Aging, I think it's important to understand just the breadth of what you all are doing, because it truly is just a matter of time before any one of us or a loved one could require your support.
Right. It's not a matter of if, it's when.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. And or at least you hope for that scenario. You know, we all hope for that scenario.
Yeah.
And so that's when we step in and help folks, and we help folks stay engaged, to stay independent and healthy and part of the community and independent. So some of the things that we're focusing on is a brain health initiative. One thing that we're seeing is more and more dementia in our community, unfortunately. So we're working on a brain health initiative. We actually, in terms of, you know, just getting information out to the community, we are collaborating with other municipalities. So the Berlin COA, Lancaster COA, as well as Neshoba Neighbors, on October 30th, we're having an Aging Positively program at the Bolton Library. And it will cover the gambit of information that you need to know as everyone gets older. It's perfect for people who just have questions, seniors, caregivers, adult kids. So that should be great. That's at 11 o'clock on the 30th at the library. One other thing that I would like to, and I have this in my report, but I just wanted to highlight is overall, we're really quite busy because of the varied things that we do, and there's only two of us. So we're going to do our best to seek out more volunteers. Strip workers also do some work for us in terms of support services, greeters at the front door. I think probably everyone has been to the Bolton Country Manor where the town rents space for the COA and Senior Center, but our offices are upstairs. The front door is downstairs. That door is locked. And so, if I don't have someone at the front door, if we're on the phone, we're in a meeting, we have to hold everything, go down and sort of figure that out. And it's not just COA stuff. It's Bolton Country Manor stuff as well, because they don't have staff there every day during the week. So there are a lot of disruptions. So one thing that I would like to be considered, we have 9 active strip workers right now, and I would like consideration in the future to maybe expand the strip program to allow more workers to be included. And that would definitely help us with our staffing shortage and perhaps other departments as well.
Thank you for raising that, Lisa. And Marie, maybe this is a question we can take up later. I just don't even know off the top of my head, what is the process for potentially increasing the strip participation?
The most straightforward would be to increase our overlay, because strip is funded through our overlay.
Got it. Okay.
And one other thing, sort of things that might be tricky in that section, it certainly has been the 580 Main build. It has really impacted our operations often. We'll have to say the construction manager has been wonderful to work with, very receptive. It's just, sometimes negotiating the driveway in, the entrance sort of shifted and changed quite a bit in the construction vehicles. However, the most important thing that I'd like to drive home tonight is at the onset of the 580 Main, even as it was being presented, I advocating for parking. It seems like years ago now. And so 16 parking spaces have been created, allowing and designated purely for Council on Aging use. And this was done so that, when we have programs, people want to access our resources, that have a place to park, because parking is at a premium in that spot, particularly now that the 580 Main build is there. So I just want to drive home the point that we really have to ensure that this exclusive designation be strictly maintained in the future, all T's crossed, I's dotted, because if these 16 spaces somehow ever go away in the future, it'll be very difficult for the community to access the Council on Aging.
Yeah, thank you for noting that.
Mhm.
Any comments or questions from Kate or Bill?
Yeah,
I have some.
Go ahead, Kate.
Bill. Yeah, I have some comments that I would like to make.
Sure.
First of all, Lisa, I think you're doing an amazingly fabulous job managing the Council on Aging with the very limited funding that the town provides. And I appreciate you pointing out the number of individuals that you're serving in our community, about 25%. And this is why it is so important as we go into the next budget season that members on the school committee need to understand the other needs in our community other than just serving the children. There are very significant needs in town that are not being adequately met, that need to be funded and addressed and balanced with everybody's needs in town. So I commend you for the job that you're doing with what you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, Lisa, and this kind of dovetails with what Kate just said. Have you ever had conversations or thought of coordinating with Lisa Schipple at Recreation to provide activities like Tai Chi that may not be specifically for seniors, but something that is geared towards the senior community?
We've collaborated with Lisa before on a couple of things. We currently have, I love collaborating. So I'm so willing to collaborate with anyone. So we have collaborated with Lisa in the past, and she's been great to work with. We have a Taja fitness class right now, which is sort of a variation of Tai Chi that happens every week. But I would gladly do that. Bill, absolutely.
I was just using that as an example because
Yeah.
I saw it I think they have one in Clinton in their common. I drove by, and I know recreation can be so focused on the youth and providing activities to the youth that thinking about the seniors may be a worthwhile exercise.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Thank you.
Well, Lisa, I'll echo what everybody said in expressing our deep thanks to both you and Heather, and to the Council on Aging board members for, there's just so much you do to support this segment of the community that goes unseen. But we're glad you had the chance to be here tonight and talk a little bit about it.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate the invitation and the opportunity.
And thank you, Penny. Is there anything you wanted to add or just?
No, just that as chairman of the board of the COA, I have the best director and assistant director, and they do everything. They think of everything and they're 10 feet ahead of everybody. And they do not work 9 to 5. You know, they're up till 10 o'clock at night emailing me. So they're quite spectacular. Couldn't work with better people.
Thanks.
And they couldn't with me. By
Likewise.
definition.
Thank you for sharing that.
Okay, take care.
All right, have a good night. Thanks again.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Okay, I think we'll pause for a moment just to see if there are any public comments. Mr. Levin.
Yeah, I know it's a surprise that I was going to say something, but Brian, a couple of meetings ago, you said that people were talking to you and asking questions about the elderly and disabled tax fund. And I raised my hand as somebody they could contact. Nobody has contacted us. And the reason I know that is I work with Jenny and she put a link to contact the whole committee. So if you go to the website, you can contact us, but nobody's asked us any questions.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. I think I passed along a link maybe via text to a few folks, but
Okay.
I can remind them that you're there if they need to reach you.
Yeah, they can also read the minutes. You know, we post them fairly regularly so they can see some of the things that are going on.
All right. Well, thank you for mentioning that.
Okay. And the second thing is, did you notice that the town of Littleton made 60 Minutes on Sunday because China hacked their power and water system? So I was wondering whether Bolton had anything that China might be interested in.
Worth exploring potentially at a future meeting. We can't really get into it now, but I think
Yeah.
it's a good flag.
That's it.
Thank you. Over to you, Marie.
All right. Sort of dovetailing with what Lisa had mentioned at the initiation of the Director of Planning, we'd had a status meeting with Wood Partners reps last week regarding the comprehensive permit, any conditions that are outstanding, and the linkage payments, as well as reaffirmed, understanding Lisa's desire to keep those COA spaces demarcated, sample signage that I snagged from another community and provided. The project is on schedule and they are looking at a phased opening. I've shared the site phasing plans with the board. This week, in opposition to what you typically hear about no news from Verizon, Verizon had moved the lines and the poles, which would be affecting the next phase of construction for the roundabout. The DPW director has contacted Amarillo, trying to find if it's possible for them to remobilize. Realize that Amarillo RGC likewise has multiple projects going on. They may or may not be able to remobilize for our site in calendar 25. I also wanted to call out our appreciation to Senator Kennedy and Representative Hogan, who did engage in interceding with the Verizon representatives on Bolton's behalf.
That's great.
It seems that we no sooner have one road closure disappearing than we have another one arising. Folks likely have seen that the Forbush Mill Road will be closing at the past the transfer station starting October 20th through November 20th. This is posted on the website. A more detailed traffic plan and traffic signage plan has been shared with the board. The Wilder Road reclamation and paving had their bid opening this week. It was great. Randy, the DPW director, is happy. The bids that were received were, for the most part, less than estimated. The lowest bidder is known quantity who does reasonably good work, and this will be able to move ahead. Thankfully, the bridge over on 117 over Still River has opened to traffic, but the bridge will be closing for intermittent overnight hours only work. I've contacted DOT wondering if we could get some estimate as to what that would be. I have not heard back, but realized that vehicular traffic will be allowed to pass over the bridge. An update on the public water supply as we continue into our, I want to say, third month being under the boil water order. Our disinfection plan, and this is where my child, one moment. Thank you. My apologies, like the kid who never calls. Our disinfection plan was submitted to DEP. This is the temporary disinfection plan. They've provided some additional edits. Once that temporary system is online, and this again will be serving both the library as well as the public safety building, consultants Ty and Bond will be submitting an official permit and scoping for the permanent system. That, if you remember my last town administrator update, is the scary costing system. So we're in a good space for now, but could get scarier. For staffing and operations, I wanted to relay to the board and to the public that all of the town employees are still in a state of processing the unexpected loss of Chief Hamburger. He was an exceptional and beloved colleague and a very gracious leader. I wanted to take this moment to thank our surrounding law enforcement partners, the Massachusetts State Police and the Central Massachusetts Chief of Police Association, for their assistance in the motorcade escort, their presence at the wake, their support during the funeral. I'm also incredibly grateful to the local departments that provided coverage for the town, allowing both our officers and our firefighters to attend and pay respects. I wanted to extend also thanks to Chief Legendre and the Bolton Fire Department to build on your remarks earlier, Brian, for their presence throughout the services, as it was a very intense weekend, at least regarding major incidents within Lancaster and abutting towns, as well as a fatal traffic accident in Bolton. In addition, Stowe's Police Chief Mike Solis has been providing invaluable support to the department.
Thank you.
Our town clerk, Jen Marquis, announced her resignation effective at the end of the month. She is opting to spend some time focusing on her family. We will miss her greatly, and the town hall team thanks her for her commitment, her good humor, her willingness to volunteer, and all of the services and support she's provided over the past decade plus.
Let me just say, like, I think most people in town have hopefully had the opportunity to interact with Jen, and she's just a gem of a person, and we're really going to miss her.
Subsequent to that news, the assistant town clerk, Kristen Zena, after ongoing discussion with Jen, with me, and with our former, now retired town clerk, Pam Powell, has accepted the promotional opportunity to become town clerk. This would be effective November 1st. I would traditionally say I would like to bring Kristen to the select board so that you can meet her. Currently, we're engaging in internal job posting for the assistant town clerk, in tandem with a review of recent attractive applicants for other town hall positions who truly impressed the interviewing team, but they perhaps weren't right for the position that they had applied. Under great news, the conservation agent Rebecca Vicaglia has returned from leave. She has an approved remote work arrangement on file, and she will be working remotely, easing back into a physical presence. As part of her welcome back, she also alerted us that we've received a reimbursable grant, or actually 2 grants from the Division of Conservation and Recreation through the state's climate forestry program.
That's great.
Yeah, the town of Bolton continues to grow its Facebook subscriber count. And for this, all kudos are due to Jenny Jacobson, which is now numbering over 1,000. Our new in-house website reveal will happen, but it will only be revealed to the town hall on October 22nd. There'll be some subsequent training, likely a little bit of tailoring and tweaking, and a go live for the general public in late November. I attended the last Parks and Rec Commission meeting. They've set the first Thursday of every month at 9:30 as their standard meeting time. They are currently reviewing their existing posted fees and against their practices. This discussion was very informative. They're now seeking more information and will be approaching this topic again at their next meeting in November. And the transfer station ad hoc summary is delayed. It is entirely my fault. Have just been engaged in other stuff. I had received a offer of volunteering from a member of the public or member of the ad hoc committee. I'm taking them up on it. And my hope is to distribute the background research to the board at the next meeting for subsequent review and discussion in November.
Okay.
Sad-ish news on the financial side. The aforementioned water system project for the scoping of the temporary disinfection and the consultancy to develop both the temporary and the permanent plan cost money. The DPW director submitted a reserve fund transfer to advisory for those issues. The budget letters for fiscal 27 will be distributed next week to departments, boards, committees, and commissions. I'm working on putting some final touches on that. In the context of looking and discussing our OPEB liability, we had received our calendar year Medicare plan rates, which is a 20% increase. One plan had increased 19.8, the other 20.9. But over our calendar 2025 rates. And I've provided the board the rates as well as the explanation detail that we'd received. When the Odyssey Advisors representative was discussing where the plan stood, this was a snapshot in time as of June 2025. So the numbers that you were seeing were not incorporating this recent shift in plan premiums. And the Mass Municipal Association held a webinar last week. Jenny had likewise attended and found it very interesting. It's regarding the fiscal pressures that all of the towns are facing. I think that it's a common one would say, well, what is going on in this town? It's the same thing that's going on in all towns within the Commonwealth. And just wanted to highlight some upcoming things. Event on the Common on Friday night, event on the Common on Saturday day, and the Trick or Treat Lane on October 25th. That's all.
Great. No, thank you. Kate or Bill, do you have any questions about Marie's report? You covered a lot, Marie. I did chuckle at one point because when you were sharing your screen, there was a little thing in the top left corner where an AI assistant was like, "This looks like a long document. Do you want the AI assistant to
I
read
get
it?"
that
So you
often.
guys
Yes.
We're like, yeah,
it's my document.
she has a lot. She has a lot on her plate.
No questions from me.
Okay. Bill, you're good?
I just real quickly, I attended that Mass Municipal where they went through that research, which was probably very similar to the webinar. And sitting at that table and talking to other people, yeah, every town is facing very similar issues as we did this last override.
Okay, well, now we've reached a little delayed, but we've reached the select board business portion of our agenda. And first, I'll actually turn it back to you, Marie, as we start to discuss next steps for the police department.
Presently in the department, the Lieutenant Barry is now serving as interim police chief. The board has, as I see it, three options. One of them would be to just engage in direct promotion, similar to what had occurred with Lieutenant Hamburger. This is not a comfortable option for me, nor do I believe it's a comfortable option for our interim chief. As we're all aware, Chief Hamburger had served for quite a long time as lieutenant, and due to the department's staffing issues, they had only started to hit their stride. I would advise appointing Lieutenant Barry as an interim chief, but I would encourage the board to consider a search. That's step one. I'm happy to proceed on. Don't know if there's discussion on that.
I do think it makes sense to pause here. So just to summarize, the recommendation would be to extend the interim appointment of Lieutenant Kim Barry as interim chief, and to engage in a search process for a police chief.
Permanent police chief, yes.
I think that makes sense, but Bill, Kate, please chime in.
No, I also think that's appropriate. I think that, the loss that we've sustained, we need to take the time to do a comprehensive search to make sure that whoever is going to fill those shoes is going to carry on Luke's legacy, and the work that he did there. The lieutenant is doing a great job in the interim, but I think the town deserves to have a full search as we fill this position.
Bill?
I agree with Kate. I think a search is the best route at this point.
Okay, so step one, Marie, I think we're in agreement.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay, for proceeding on that course of action, I do wish to highlight that the interim chief, Barry, is doing a great job, but there is no lieutenant. Securing a police department advisor, police department assistants would be, in my estimation, worthwhile. Even the fastest search process in the world would have a minimum of, 30 days of keeping, applications and resumes open. So as we embark down this path, be aware that we're looking at a period of, say, 3 to 4 months. To that end, I've been in contact with retired Chief Vin Alfano, who's very familiar with the department, has a good relationship with Lieutenant, former department members, as well as the community. And should this seem reasonable to the board, I would advocate securing police department assistance for the interim chief.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead, Kate.
Would you be thinking like a set number of hours, or like how would you think to structure it?
What I would do is sit with the interim chief as well as the retired chief and try to derive an estimated number of hours, leaving some blocks for potentially, depending on the select board's preference for a search, other assistance from a retired chief. I've received a proposal that I have shared with the board members individually regarding retired Chief Alfano's background. He's come highly regarded, and I know that when he had served as chief, it had been also part of a search process conducted by the board and community members. So that would be my next step, though, with the recommendation, as the board is interested in extending the appointment of the lieutenant, to acknowledge that there is no lieutenant then to assist. And I believe that having a department consultant on call or at her call would be terrifically helpful.
I think that's a smart approach too, and we'll work up motions after we
Yeah.
get through all of the
Okay.
steps.
All right. Should the board be interested then, as you seemingly have assented in pursuing a search, again, you have this path that splits in two. You can engage in a professional recruiting firm, or you can rely upon sort of in-house. In either case, there will be a need to gather input from representative stakeholders for what they're looking for and how they would weight different criteria of importance in chief candidates. In either case, there would need to be, a tailored job description. And likewise, in both cases, there is a sort of a limited number of places, should the search be directed to Massachusetts only, for which, we would be soliciting resumes and input. So the predominant difference is that a lot of the management and the machination, the scheduling work, et cetera, for an external firm is done by that external firm. The cost estimates are that I have been able to secure between $7,500 to $16.5K. The alternative would be, that the board, say, appoints a police chief search committee, tasks a representative member, and sort of it tries to hit the ground running.
Marie, do you have initial preferences between those two options?
Based on perhaps tainted by my own experience and those of our surrounding communities and my discussion with my colleagues, I would advocate engaging in an internal search ourselves. I had been engaged in a search for a former community and had also, found that there's definitely value for recruiting firms, but I also think there's perhaps more value for doing it ourselves.
Marie, would as part of your conversation with the retired chief, would he participate in that search or help in that search?
He has indicated his willingness to do that. It's also at the discretion of how the select board wishes to configure the committee.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my preference would be to do it internally. I think that the members of this community know what we're looking for. Certainly we will need guidance from someone like the former chief, obviously other members of the Bolton Police Department. But, I think our community knows what it's looking for, so.
I tend to agree. I do just want to say, though, that there's an element of concern about just the logistical challenge and burden of coordinating all that and then having that fall onto the plate of somebody who's already quite busy. So I guess first question is, Marie, is it safe to assume that you would be in a facilitative and sort of leading role in the search process?
I would be comfortable in a facilitative and a potentially non-voting role in the search process, but would hope that there would be a committee member who'd be willing to take on the requisite scheduling too, and, you know, information dissemination.
Do we know, and this may be a left field question, but do we know if there's a resident that has law enforcement experience that may be retired that could serve on such a committee?
I would turn to my town of Bolton experts.
I mean, I'm aware of at least one person. I think we may have even had somebody at the meeting earlier today with some law enforcement experience. But I guess just in terms of the timing, would the ideal scenario be that we could potentially be making the community aware of the opportunity to serve on this committee and then trying to do appointments at the November 6th?
That would be ideal, actually.
Yeah.
And so then I think we need to, we do probably need to decide this evening what the ideal composition in terms of the placeholder spots would be for that committee, and then fill them with actual individuals by November 6th. So did you want to share, Marie? I think you had emailed me.
Sure. I had emailed Brian only potential slots on that committee with one representative from the select board. I would serve as a facilitative role, but ideally non-voting. I believe it's important to include the fire chief as the co-emergency director. I would also encourage, given the police department's close workings with Public Ways Safety, to have a representative from Public Ways Safety Committee. And then 2 community members, or as was mentioned earlier, perhaps 1 retired law enforcement member and 1 community member. I know that you get a lot of diverse viewpoints from a very large committee, and potentially the town could set up, say, you know, an email address seeking community feedback. When a committee becomes very large, you start to encounter issues of quorum, scheduling, and it just goes from there. So.
So by my count, we would have 1 select board member, non-voting town administrator, fire chief, 1 member of the Public Ways Safety Committee, and then I'm thinking at least 2 and maybe up to 3 community members. I guess I want to give us a little bit of wiggle room there. So it'd be anywhere from like 6 to 7. 6 to 7 members. Kate and Bill, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think, you know, 2 or 3 community members, 3 might be better. And I'd really like to see it be a wide cross section of people, different ages, different groups within town. You know, I'd like to encompass, I'd like to get voices from everybody on this.
I agree. I think minimum of 2, but I think 3 would be preferable.
So if the board is interested in that, as well as keeping to a schedule of appointments by November 6th, it sounds like what would be great would be to have a call for volunteers for this committee going out, say, tomorrow. And continue to post that. All right.
Yep, I think we should do that. Is now a good time to actually go back and clean up with some motions? Okay. So first I would entertain a motion to extend the appointment of Lieutenant Kim Berry to serve as interim chief until the time that a search process results in a decision on a permanent chief.
So moved.
Second.
And I'll roll call. Kate?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I'm also a yes. The second motion I'd entertain would be to authorize our town administrator to pursue a contract for police department consulting and assistance support from former Chief Vin Alfano.
Second. Oh, so moved.
Second.
Roll call. Kate?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I'm also a yes. And then the third is I'd entertain a motion to convene a search committee composed of one select board member, the fire chief, one member of the Public Ways Safety Committee, a minimum of 2 or up to 3 community members, and the town administrator as a non-voting member.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Kate?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
I'm also a yes.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Was there discussion also of having Vin Alfano on that committee?
No,
Thought I heard that earlier, but it's not in the vote.
No, I thought Bill's question was whether he could help with the process.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Just provide guideline. I mean, I've never hired a police chief before, so.
Materials.
But I mean, to that point, Marie, I think like as you're talking through with retired Chief Alfano, the scope of work, telling him that the board would be interested in getting his expertise and assistance in this as well would be great. Okay.
And one other question. When we are posting the ad for the 2 to 3 community members at large, should it say that you would like a preference for law enforcement experience, or just law enforcement experience preferred?
Maybe like law enforcement experience a plus.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good.
Because I don't want people to think like they shouldn't step forward if they don't have law enforcement experience.
Yeah.
Well, and I'd like to be clear, I'm not contemplating 3 people with law enforcement experience. I'm explicitly contemplating some people who don't and who just have a stake in community policing.
Yeah, and I just brought that up more if there was someone who had a lot of experience to let them know about the board if they were interested in serving, as opposed to if we knew who that person was. I didn't know if we did or not.
Anything else on this item?
Not for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next up, public service announcements.
Got nothing.
All right. Marie, thank you for mentioning the events that are coming up outside. So hope to see folks. Future agenda items. This is for either Bill or Kate.
Nothing from me tonight.
Nothing.
Okay. And then select board reports. Think the only thing I'll mention is that Marie has been helping with outreach and scheduling to try to convene a quasi tri-town discussion with the budget decision makers in the other 2 towns. So that's TBD.
Am I still placeholding October 27th?
No.
Sorry. To update a lot of moving pieces. Okay, are we now on to the consideration of an amendment to the town's flag policies? Marie, I think you can tee this up.
I would tee this up as saying this is how municipal work works best, of discussing this idea with Jenny, who had gone back, researched the multiple flag policies that we have, and combined them, as well as received the assistance, and we had the presence of Leslie here tonight too, in terms of operationalizing it. So I see it as a gap, as following the tragic event, we wanted to announce immediate dropping of our flags to half staff. The policies that existed didn't quite cover that for me to make the unilateral decision. And so Jenny had also found there were some gaps in the multiple policies we had.
So we have received in our draft, in our packets, a draft of a flag policy. There we go. Oh my gosh, Jenny, you're so good. And I see that there's the language in the toward the end of that paragraph about flags being able to be flown half staff, either by a vote of the select board or by order of the board chair in advance of an official vote of the board. I have no questions about this. I think it makes sense to do.
Yeah, I have no issues with it.
Looks good.
Okay. So is there a motion to approve? Oh, sorry, Leslie, did you have any comments or input that you wanted to offer?
No, I was just here for backup, just in case you guys had any questions or anything about how we, roll out the flags and banners each season and stuff. And just if Jenny needed me to explain anything. So Jenny and I have talked about it, and I think it looks really good.
While you're here, let me just say, thank you for the work that you do on that, because they always look terrific. And I know it's like one of those things that it magically happens, but it doesn't magically happen. It happens because you make it happen.
Well, I've got a wonderful crew behind me that helps, and the guys really, are wonderful about it. And we've been doing it since 2018 now, so.
Well, thank you.
They take pride in it. Thank you.
Okay, so motion to approve.
I will make a motion to approve the updated flag policy.
Second.
Roll call. Kate?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I'm also a yes. Okay, thank you. Sorry to keep you so late, Leslie. Okay, so Bill, as our newest member, I don't know whether you have had an opportunity to review the draft handbook for appointed and elected officials.
I have.
I'm trying to get a sense of the board. Are we ready to move forward on this, or?
I would like to be done with it.
Marie, any?
It's fine.
But I just want to confirm, and I'm sorry, I meant to go back and look at exactly what we had said last. We did agree that there was a whole section at the end that we were going to remove, right? About this one-page summary.
Yeah, I think Appendix B. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Good. Well then, Kate, maybe you should be making this motion.
I will make a motion to approve the handbook for appointed and elected officials.
I second that.
Roll call. Kate?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I'm also a yes. Marie, at the last meeting, there had just been like a final stage of review, I think, from council on the memorandum of agreement related to the cadet program, but I assume we're all good there.
Council was fine, and also the slight change or modification of wording under the fire department responsibilities has been cleared with the fire chief, who is fine with that. So that change has been incorporated likewise.
Okay, and then I just want to remind folks that we will have to provide a liaison from the select board to the cadet EMT advisory board. So Is there a motion?
I will make a motion to execute the memorandum of agreement between the Bolton Select Board, Neshoba Regional School District, and Bolton Fire EMS for the EMT cadet program.
I second that.
Okay, roll call. Kate?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
I'm also a yes. And Jenny, would you mind just making a note? I think that at our November 6th meeting, we should consider appointing the liaison because we'll also have to be appointing a member of the select board to the chief search committee. So we might as well try to do both of those in the same meeting. Okay, review annual town meeting calendar and discuss warrant delivery. I think that's over to you, Marie, or no?
Okay, as part of the budget letter going out, the town meeting calendar and due dates is distributed along with the, budget documentation. Wanted to run this by the board. As mentioned earlier, capital requests will be coming back at the end of this month. To the question of warrant delivery, this was raised by Jenny, who'd recalled the town meeting vote for warrant distribution, allowing us to distribute via the website only. And so just so the document that we have going out is factually correct, we wanted to check in and inquire as to what the presence of the board was.
Sorry, the preference of the board, is that?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, so first, just on the high level calendar that you provided, I'm assuming other kind of key folks within town
Yes.
hall have had a chance to review this.
Yes, this was
including-
reviewed with Jen as well as with Ninotchka and Jenny. And the amazing work is actually a combination of Jenny and Jen.
And what about Kristen? Just out of curiosity, she'll be fine. Just she's our new town clerk.
This is the
Jen did
calendar.
review it with Kristen.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let Kate and Bill share their thoughts about the warrant going into the newspaper. I'll withhold my thoughts for now. I mean, I will share them, but I just don't want to go first.
I'm fine with it going into the newspaper, which we've done previously, as long as that's still an option.
Remind us, there's the price tag is roughly, maybe we don't know.
I'm saying like $2,800, close to $3,000
Yeah.
for that placement.
I mean, I'm fine if we do it all electronically by the website as well. My recollection is the reason that we brought it as a warrant article was there was a concern about whether there would be a town newspaper going forward, but right now there is. Honestly, I'm fine either way. People are used to receiving it in the newspaper right now, so if we don't need to change it, maybe we shouldn't change it. But we have the flexibility going forward if we need to do it electronically to do it that way.
Yep. Bill?
No, that makes sense. Hopefully we'll continue to have a newspaper to use. But I'm good with having it in both.
Yep. I agree. Any factors we haven't thought of, Jenny or Marie, that we ought to consider? Or are you good with that?
I think we're fine with that. We just wondered if we wish to take advantage of the warrant article that had passed at town meeting, although, yeah. So.
And I'll just add the caveat that I have reached out to Kristen DeJean at the newspaper about timing for the delivery and also cost for the delivery as she's taken over. Haven't heard back from her, but I'll report back if there's been any change to her ability to have it printed and inserted. I'll
Okay,
report
and
back.
then, I mean, I know this is where, I mean, if the cost is not what we're expecting, are we locked into this just because it's going in this calendar, or can we reevaluate?
We can reevaluate it. This was just a moment of opportunity to seek the board's preference regarding.
Yep.
And one other thing I'll add is having it in the newspaper is one thing. Having it in a newspaper that is delivered to every household in town is a separate question. So we could still place it in the newspaper without the expense of delivering it to every household in town, but completely up to you. I just wanted to explain that both can happen or either can happen.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. So are we good on that item for now? Yes. Okay. Entertainment licenses. We've got two for consideration. I don't think we have representatives from either entity. Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't see you there.
That's
Open
quite all right.
Orchard. Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you? Thank
I'm
you so much
well.
for being here. Do you want to say a little bit about the request? Oh, by the way, family had dinner at the place. We loved it.
Oh, awesome. Good to hear that. Good. Yeah, I'm actually, my husband, I tucked him in the corner because he just came running in from the restaurant to join. So, and I know Jenny has been so wonderful and so helpful. So we totally appreciate that. Yeah, no, I mean, we're just looking for an entertainment license. We used to have a place in this Charlie.
Charlie.
We used to have a small sports bar in Chelmsford where we did occasional, like, acoustic music, things like that, nothing outside of business hours or anything like that. Full disclosure, I sang in a band for years and years. So now this is like, we're managing the 3 kids, and I feel like it's a little bit of my time too, where I get to regain a part of myself.
So it would this would be indoors?
Yes.
Mostly?
Well, most now moving forward until, until either the summer or something like that. But we've done our best also to really connect, I think, with, abutters and things like that but nothing that we're going to do entertainment wise is all inside for now.
Yeah. Okay. Questions, and sorry, because we had a couple, I'm just trying to make sure I have the details. This would be, it's a 1-day license, or what is it? Or for the whole year? I'm forgetting now.
The year.
Theirs was for an annual license,
But
Monday through Saturday.
for all days, Monday through Saturday?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, wasn't tracking that. Okay, Bill or Kate, any questions?
I do not have any questions. Nope.
I do not either.
No, I think it sounds like a great idea. So this means we'll get to come hear you sing, Shayna? All right. Is there a motion to approve the request of Oak and Orchard for their annual entertainment license Monday through Saturday?
So moved.
I second that.
Roll call. Kate?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
I'm also a yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you both.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Have a good evening. Thanks
Thank
for-
you.
Thank you.
Okay, and then Jenny, can I turn to you to just remind us of the details of the Bolton Orchard request?
Yes, the Bolton Orchard request is a single day. It is a Sunday. I have it open somewhere, or thought I did. Yep. It is for, here's the date. So sorry, the date doesn't appear on the application, but it's a Sunday coming soon. It is for outdoor live music. It's for an event that they have had in the past that they're repeating this year. We didn't have an entertainment license policy and procedures in the past when they've held it. And I sent a notification that the select board had adopted these policies to all of our common vic license holders. And Sarah responded right away, stating, I think it is this Sunday, stating that they had something coming up soon. I told her if she can get the application to me quickly, that I would add it to the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm just trying to.
Your email did say it was for an event this weekend on Sunday.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so it'd be Sunday the 19th. Okay.
Do you want a motion?
Yeah, I'm just looking again just at the application to see if there's.
So in section 1, she checked off annual. So that's probably what's throwing you off. But in conversations that I had with Sarah after she submitted it, she decided to do she said that they would only be doing 4 events annually. So from a cost perspective, it didn't make sense for her to go forward with the annual license. So she's choosing to do a single event license.
Okay.
Well,
Great.
I will make a motion to approve the entertainment license for Bolton Orchards for October 19th.
I second.
Okay, roll call. Kate?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
I'm also a yes. Okay, we're almost there, folks. Motion to approve bills / payroll warrants W26-8.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Kate?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
I'm also a yes. And then Jenny, I think we have 1 set of minutes.
We do, with changes. They are the minutes of September 18th. There's one change.
Okay.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes of September 18th.
Second.
Actually, technically, I don't think you can, since you weren't a member of the board at that time. So I'll second it. And I'll do a roll call and you can abstain, Bill. Kate?
Yes.
Bill?
Abstain.
And I'm a yes. Okay. And then motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion. No, I won't. I'll
Bill,
let
you got to do it.
the new guy do it.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Kate?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
I'm also a yes. And thank you, Jenny and Marie. Sorry, it was a long night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the time for the record, it's 9:08 p.m.
Right,
Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
And there is some signing in the folder.
I
For
will be
only
back.
for Brian. What's that?
I will be back next Friday.
It's not urgent. It's the entertainment license. I think Brian is the only signature